What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, people? Welcome to the show. Not sure what time you're listening to this on all that good stuff, but if you are listening to this, whenever you do get around to it, just know you're part of history. This is the first official Move Swiftly series. I'm still struggling. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to call it, but just know it's going to be me having a sip of coffee on my way to the gym like I do every morning. And I said to myself, you know what? I think I'm going to start sharing more and start doing more videos where I'm speaking directly to people and things like that. And what's realer, what's realer than having some coffee and going to the gym and kind of sharing my morning routine. And one of the things I want to talk to you guys about, especially today, this is kind of my think tank. This is what I do every morning to really get my mind ready to go to attack. As a thought leader, as an author. Actually, you know what? Before I even go any further, let me introduce myself. If you're new to my world, my name is Aswand Cruickshank. 4-time published author, and I am the one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Not a motivational speaker, but your Move Swiftly speaker. And what I speak about a lot is teamwork. Teamwork is my expertise. Teamwork is the area in which I know very well. And for this first video, for the first official video I'm doing, the Move Swiftly series, coffee, conversation, on my way to the gym. Again, I'm still kind of playing with what I'm going to call these series. Is, one of the things I do talk about is the importance of a teammate, the importance of having a great teammate and teamwork and things like that. And, just kind of what's on my mind to share is I have a teammate, he's almost like a brother to me now, and his name, I'll just go ahead and mention his name now. His name is Taj Deshawn. Taj Deshawn and I were teammates about 10 years ago when I played at Stony Brook University. And the reason I'm bringing him up, is because the value that he has created in my life, just from the perspective of, this is why I even have a topic to talk. Like, this is what, like, the fact that I'm even discussing, the fact that I'm even put books out on teamwork and things like that. And he provides a great example, because here's the thing. As a 4-time published author, as someone who has a podcast out, by the way, the name of my podcast is the Move Swiftly Podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple, and all streaming platforms and things like that. I have 4 books out and I have a podcast out, and I'm constantly giving workshops. I'm working towards becoming a full-time speaker. When you look to your left, you look to your right, you see very, very few people that look like you, right? At least in my experience. I can't speak for no other speaker out there, but look to your left, look to your right, you don't see very many people that have been through what you've been through. And I was blessed enough to have a teammate. I can't think of any other teammate that I've had who's also in the thought leadership world. And if you look at both of our brands, somebody from the outside looking in may say me and Taj are competition, which in some ways that's true, but it's more so like he's more so someone that has helped me. I've helped him, he's helped me, and we've helped each other just like we were playing when we were at Stony Brook. The interesting part about it is the fact that I came in as a junior. I believe I was a junior in the classroom, and he was an incoming freshman. And I always tell people, when I was at Stony Brook, I was almost like an assistant coach. The 2 seasons I was at Stony Brook, I was actually more like an assistant coach than I was an actual player, and Taj was an incoming freshman. So anyway, the reason I bring him up is because if it wasn't for him, I probably would not even have the idea of starting this very YouTube channel, this very series in which you guys are hearing me talk on camera and making sure that I'm communicating with my regular listeners or my new listeners, and just doing things that's making it so new people are coming into my world daily. he, and he did this in a way, he did this for me in a way that he doesn't even know. If he's listening, this is the first time he's probably going to hear this. And by the way, he has promised to come back on the Move Swiftly podcast, and I'm going to make sure I hold you to that, brother. So about a year ago, I found a new position. I became a teacher. Before, like a year ago, I was a trainer, and then, COVID happened, and me and the gym owner, we just had our differences and things like that. But I decided to become a teacher, and I was making a better salary. I was making more money and things like that. And I knew at that point that I needed to hire a coach. I needed to hire someone that was going to push me. I needed to hire what I like to call an accountability partner. And that in itself is a very, very challenging thing, because especially in the thought leadership world, there's a lot of people who sell you bullshit. There's a lot of programs out there that just don't work and things like that. So, I am a regular listener of Taj's podcast. The name of his podcast is Thrive After Sports. And there were two guests that he had that made it so I was able to hire two coaches to help me build my business, two specific coaches. All right. So the first guest he had that really struck me, and he's had tons of guests, but the first guest that he had was, it was a series he used to do named Athlete to Entrepreneur. And one of the Athlete to Entrepreneur is a panel discussion. Athlete to Entrepreneur is a panel discussion. And one of the people he had on Athlete to Entrepreneur was a guy named Rennie Curran. And man, let me tell you, what's interesting about that is this happened over a year ago. And I remember I was driving from South Florida all the way to North Carolina, which was a 16-hour drive. And I knew, his podcast wasn't the only podcast I listened to, but I knew all of the podcasts and all that stuff. Like, yo, you got to give me some good stuff. I got a 16-hour drive. So I was listening to Rennie, and in the back of my mind, as I grew up, I played linebacker growing up. And I remember that name, Rennie Curran. I'm like, Rennie Curran, man, that name sounds familiar. And it was like, oh yeah, that was that linebacker. He was almost a Butkus Award winner. He was one of those linebackers in which I watched play the game. So he was, and as I saw what he was doing now, because what happens all the time, what happens in pretty much with everyone is once you're done playing, and he's had such a great career. If you want to go back and listen to Rennie talk, go back to my podcast. The title of his episode is Real Free Agency, and he speaks a lot about what happens when you're done playing football and difficult it is. But Rennie, long story short, Rennie, has been a full-time speaker for over 10 years, keynotes, workshops, whatever it is. And then he was like the first person that I wanted to have coaching me. The next person that I saw a lot of my future brand, it was a guy named Dre Baldwin. All right, Dre Baldwin. And if, again, had it not been for Dre Baldwin, you again is another person who has been pushing me and making sure, I'm staying on point, making sure I'm staying on brand, making sure I'm doing the right things every single day. He also has a podcast. It's called Work on Your Game, and his podcast comes out daily. So you already know I'm a competitor as it is. I want to make sure my brand is up on that level and things like that. So the way I met Dre, it wasn't directly through Taj, and this is where I really want to get you. This is the story I want to tell you guys, because it's important that you understand. It tells you all about the teamwork and what a strong teammate can do for you. Taj had a guest on his show. Her name is Misty Buck. All right, Misty Buck. Misty Buck, when I listened to the episode that he did with Misty Buck, by the way, Misty Buck is the author of a book titled Athletes' Mental Health, the Playbook for Athletes' Mental Health. Randy, by the way, the title of his book is Free Agency, I think it's the Free Agency and something like that. And, Dre has over 31, the man has written over 31 books, all right? It's not over 31. I think, actually, no, it's somewhere around over 31. You may as well just say it's over 31, all right? And every time I say that, I think about it because it's so funny to think about, as a former athlete. Dre's a former basketball player. And if you just kind of think about what it was like in the locker room, and, you kind of going in a round table and you say, hey, bro, what you going to do when you graduate? Hey, bro, what you going to do when you graduate? If someone had said while you're in college, hey, I'm about to write 31 books, after I graduate, people would probably, they would be extremely comical to a lot of different people. But anyway, I'm getting off topic, which again is going to happen on this series because it's real, it's authentic. You know, you guys are catching me. I wanted to capture what it is, what life is like for me as soon as I wake up and I grab my coffee and I'm on my way to the gym and I'm on, you know, I'm on this path, on this trail of really getting my mind right and stuff like that. So anyway, where's that? Yeah, hiring a coach, right. So I heard Misty Buck speak on Taj's podcast. And the interesting part was the fact that Misty lives in South Florida. She lives in South Florida and I live in South Florida as well. And that drew me into Misty's world, Misty Buck's world. Like I was really drawn into the world, but she's been on my show as well. She's been on my podcast as well. I believe the title of her episode is An Athlete's Mental Health. And we had an incredible conversation. And there had a time where I was heavy into going to Clubhouse. And Clubhouse, I haven't gone on Clubhouse for a while now. You know, it just kind of became boring. I'm not a big talker, not a big person that does a whole lot of talking. Very much, you may believe it or not, but I don't really do a whole lot of talking. I don't like doing a whole lot of talking. But anyway, Misty Buck and Dre Baldwin used to host a room together. And I would go to that room regularly. And when I first heard Dre speak, I was like, oh man, he's keeping it 100. Like he's making it so you are, you know, you need that in your life. He reminded me a lot of a good friend of mine. His name is Omar Powell. Shout out to you, Omar. There's someone who was going to keep it 100% with you. And me being brand new to South Florida, I needed that. Me not only being brand new to South Florida, but also being an athlete that wants to run his own business and be a full-time entrepreneur. You need people that are going to hold you accountable. You need people that are going to make it so they're asking the right questions over and over again. And I can't tell you how important that really is. All right. So a year ago, I saw my brand, you know, when you really when I switched positions, or I switched from being a trainer to becoming a teacher at a learning center, I saw my brand, I saw my company, I saw my business, saw what I did. I saw it as kind of a mix between Rennie Curran and Dre Baldwin. You know, I saw it a mix between the Game Changers. So the company that Rennie runs is the Game Changers Foundation, and Dre Baldwin runs a company named Work on Your Game. And there's links, I could, you know, send you links to it if you're interested in that. Just message me and I'll send you links to both. But I saw my business as a mix between both of them. And I reached out to both of them a year ago. It's been about a year since I've been being coached by both of them, and my business has gone to the next level. It really has. I've become so clear on what it is I want to speak on, or what it is I'm an expert at. And not only that, I know now specifically that I can reach out to those two anytime, and I'm getting some specific answers. And let's go back to how it started. It started by me not planning. Like I didn't go to Stony Brook and say, oh man, I hope Taj is going to be my teammate. Neither did Taj go to Stony Brook and say, okay, man, I hope I'm going to meet Aswand. I hope I'm going to meet, well, they called me Crunk back then. There are very few people that went to Stony Brook even know me by my real name. But now, you know, I go by Aswand now. Aswand, your Move Swiftly speaker. But, you know, and the point I'm trying to make, the point I've been making throughout this entire, the first, by the way, this is the inaugural one. I know, I'm not sure if I mentioned that yet, but the point I'm making to you listening to me now is, number one, how important teamwork is. You will not get to where it is you're trying to go. Hold on, let me get a sip of coffee. You will not get where exactly it is you're trying to go if you don't have the right teammate. You got to get very specific. You got to understand your teammates, it's like the old saying, show me your friends and I'm going to show you your future. Your teammates and the people that you choose to befriend are going to be people that are going to help you for the rest of your life. That's number one. That's the point number one. The next thing that you have to take in is you specifically need to hire a coach. You need to hire a coach. If you do not hire a coach, and I'm not talking about some bullshit person that is putting out, I'm talking about someone who every single day you watch, whether it's you watch them on Instagram or you see what they're doing, you go on their website and you say to yourself, man, I want to be doing that. That's me. I need to get my business to that level. Because as soon as I saw Rennie's business and I saw what he was about, I said to myself, you know what? It's a linebacker like me. I need to get my business to that level. I want you coaching me. The next thing, same thing with Dre. When I saw the fact, I was in a situation where people were always complimenting me about the fact that I was a multi-published author. Well, look, Dre wrote 30 some odd books, and he's a former athlete. So I needed to step it up. And it's that energy, it's that mindset, it's the fact that I'm willing to do that is what makes it so I can keep going and keep going and keep going, because you're around people that make you better. I'll close you out with this phrase. All right. I'm gonna take my time as I say it. If you are, look through your phone, look at the people that you hang out with, look at the peer group that you have. If you are the smartest person amongst your peer group, or if you're the smartest person in the room, if you're the smartest person in whatever setting, wherever it is you go, you are in the wrong room. You're in the wrong peer group. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You should always, 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 always be actively seeking out people who have done what you've done, are doing it better than you, have a little more, are very much more established in the game that you're trying to get into. Try to get yourself around people like that constantly, because what's going to start happening is you're going to start to feel yourself improving. You're going to start to feel yourself getting better, and you will not get stagnant. If you understand that, if you stay away and you realize how dangerous that comfort zone really is, there's things that you're going to be able to accomplish in your life that you never in a million years thought you could accomplish. I'm a living proof example of it. The fact that I hired these two people to coach me up, and there were different ways. So Rennie, the way Rennie coaching system works is there's a curriculum of the type of speaker you want to be, has everything broken down, and I have lifetime access to all of his videos to make sure I know the type of speaker I want to be and the best ways to approach each and every single type of speaker. Dre, he keeps it as raw, the same way I'm talking to you right now. He keeps it raw and rugged. If you have an idea that isn't going to work, then he'll tell you it's not going to work. He'll tell you straight up it's not going to work. In fact, I remember reading one of his posts, and he talked a lot about, he said something about he doesn't work with kids. He pulls out the baseball bat and people, something like that. Some basically saying that he keeps it as raw and rugged, and you might be offended by some of the things he says, but it's all necessary because that's what we need. That's what we need, especially for the young black leaders, the young black businessmen that have a difficult time, like I said, when, as we develop as authors, as we develop as speakers, as we develop as podcast hosts, as we develop as thought leaders, hosting panel discussions. When I look to the left and I look to the right, I don't see too many people who have my skin complexion. I don't see too many young black men doing the things I'm doing. So it's important for us, us to make sure we see each other, the few that do make it in the thought leadership world. It's important for us to stick together, push each other really, really hard. And it all started from having a solid teammate. All right. Now, again, this is something I'm going to be doing at the very least. I'm going to be doing this at least 5 days a week, because my podcast comes out 2 days a week. So I'm probably going to be doing these series at least 5 days a week. Don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out. Be sure the first thing you do, if you want to, dive more into my world, the very first thing you need to do is you need to go and subscribe to the Move Swiftly podcast. All right. It's available on all streaming platforms. It's 100% free. And my Instagram account is Swift_LY. My Facebook is Aswand Cruickshank. And my LinkedIn is Aswand Cruickshank. This is actually going to be going on my YouTube channel. And it's just a start. It's just a start, because listen to me. Another sip of coffee. I mean, what is realer than this, though? This is so awesome. The fact that I'm actually doing this right now, because I've been doing this same routine so long that the fact that it was actually Dre's suggestion, he suggested this to me just yesterday. He looked through my Instagram and he's like, man, you don't have enough don't have enough videos of you speaking in a camera and you want to be a speaker. Let's do more of that. Let's do more of a speaking thing. So I'm so excited, right? I'm so pumped to actually be able to share this moment with you when I'm drinking my coffee and I'm actually at the gym. And I can't wait to dive more into exactly what I'm all about and to hear from you and to really discuss and dive into what it is I do as a speaker and how much I've grown and things like that. So I just have to get that off my chest because I'm pumped at the fact that I'm actually doing this. So anyway, if you want to dive more into my world, check out the Move Swiftly podcast. Just subscribe to Move Swiftly podcast. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. And the website, my main website is makeyourmove.com. That's makeyaMove.com. And it's a list of services, a list of things that I do, from speaking to sports marketing courses to youth boxing lessons, all sorts of things that I do. And just message me and what you're interested in, and we'll discuss more. All right. So for all that, I'm gonna officially wrap up my first ever Move Swiftly series, Coffee and Conversation. Like I said, because it's the first video, I'm still struggling with the name, but it'll be kind of crisper. I'd say give me a week to give me like official name to this video series. But it's just awesome to keep it raw and rugged with you. You guys that have listened in, I appreciate you tuning in. Continue to move swiftly. My name is Aswand Cruickshank. I am your Move Swiftly speaker. Continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.